Week of the Texas high school football regular season is here. The COVER1 crew has you covered tonight for everything you need to know. Plus, animals, big and small, are in the news today, but not for good reasons in San Angelo. We'll tell you more. I'm Yantis Green, and this is Live. But first, Davis Woodfin, financial advisor with Edward Jones, congratulates all of tonight's stars on the football field. You can contact him with your questions about the crazy economy we're living in right now, and he may answer many of your questions. Davis is making sense out of investing at Edward Jones. He's located at 4102 South Jackson Street or at 325-249-0082. That's Davis Woodfin at Edward Jones, 325-249-0082. 0082, or go see him at 4102 South Jackson. We start the show today with news regarding last night's crash on Loop 306. At around 11 p.m., officers with the San Angelo Police Department were dispatched to the entrance ramp of East Loop 306 near the San Angelo Business and Industrial Park for the report of a rollover crash. Officers discovered upon arrival that a semi-truck hauling cattle had turned over. Because of that, nearly 10 cows were killed. 17, however, were saved. Lone Star beef crews were called in to clean up the bovine carcasses. No humans were injured in that crash. And if you're worried about PETA showing up in town because of those cows, then don't worry, because they're already here. Except instead of the cows, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals is going after the San Angelo City Council for the situation at the animal shelter. In a letter sent to the City Council and the Mayor and San Angelo Live, the letter says that the city is not doing enough to save those animals at the shelter. In their demands, PETA listed that the city should shut down all breeding and sales of dogs in the city limits. Currently, it is illegal in the city limits to breed a dog without a permit. So at least the city has half the problem fixed, right? The city has not responded to that letter from PETA that was delivered this afternoon. The letter is coming after Angelo State University received a complaint from another animal rights group demanding that the university be held responsible for the deaths of nearly 100 mice. For more on these stories, check out them exclusively on sanangelolive.com. And the day is finally here. That's right. In business news, Kohl's in San Angelo has officially opened its newest location. The 5,500 square foot facility is now open for shoppers to enjoy brands like Nike, Under Armour, and so much more. Also for the ladies, the Sephora shop inside Kohl's is also open. Go check out everything they have on the 5900 block of Sherwood Way right there next to Sam's. That store just opened up. Kohl's is open every day from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. As for weather this weekend, it looks like it's going to be some pretty nice weather for Saturday after a very cold night tonight. Highs on Saturday will be in the 70s, perfect tailgate weather for this week's Ram Jam at Angelo State University. And then on Sunday through Wednesday, the highs will be back into the 80s. Over the next 7 days, there's no rain in the area forecast. As for tonight's Friday night football action, it will be a little windy and cool. The sun will set around 6:50 p.m. After the sun goes down, temperatures will move into the lower 60s. There currently is a wind advisory in effect for the Concho Valley, including Tom Green County. That's the news this Friday afternoon for today. Stick around for the COVER1 football pregame show. But before we get to that, here's a quick word from Tiemann Investments.
I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to help students maximize their potential. It's something that I'm good at. But planning for my financial freedom, that's something I leave for a professional. That's why I chose to team up with the advisors at Tiemann Investments. They not only understand me and my goals, but they understand the market, what's important now and in the future. They provided world-class advice right where I am, here in West Texas. Connect with Tiemann Investments to visualize your financial dreams.
It's here, the final week of the regular season. Welcome to the COVER1 pregame show, brought to you by All-American Chevrolet and a bunch of other people. But a lot of stuff to get to today, including the San Angelo Central Bobcats, who are fighting for a better playoff spot. District championships on the line down there in Sonora. And, of course, we cannot leave out the battle between El Dorado and Sterling City. It's going to be a good one. Before we get to any of the action, though, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host here, James Bellini. James, how's the week of football been?
Had a great week of football. Made a trip to Brownwood this week. Talked to their defensive guy, and we got good. I talked to Trey Cisco and Chad Tuttle there. They have a game tonight. They're playing each other. Try to not play Albany in the first round. And first round's next week. Playoffs are here. It seems like we start. I said this a few times this year, but playoffs. It seems like it's just gone by way too fast. So.
I know it just seems like when we blinked at week 2. You know, we're watching the Central Bobcats nail-biter, Hail Mary. That was 6 weeks ago. I mean, that's such a long time ago. So teams have changed, and we kind of see who is what now. On my other co-host here, Ryan Chadwick, our Bobcat expert. You're going to go down to Wolfforth here in a little bit, so don't get into the game too much, but just how excited are you for the last week of the regular season of Texas high school football?
I mean, I'm not excited that it's the last week. I'm looking forward to playoffs, but I mean, I've enjoyed this season. It's been fun covering the Bobcats, and of course, we're hoping that the Cats get a win tonight.
All right, speaking of the Cats, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Tonight in Wolfforth, it's going to be the Friendship Tigers and the San Angelo Bobcats. Taking on the Tigers are 7-2. Central 5-4. Both of these teams are in the playoffs already, but kind of talking about a little seeding action here. If not, at least a little boost of confidence moving into it. Chadwick, we will go to you first as the Bobcat expert, the one who's watched them all year long. What can you tell the people about this matchup and mainly how these two are going to play against each other?
Well, if you look at both these teams on paper, there's really not much difference in between them. They both have real high-octane offenses that can put up a lot of points and a lot of yards. On the defensive side of the ball, they struggle at times. Most of their opponents that they play also scored a lot of points. So on paper, it's almost looking in the mirror, right? So if the Bobcats are going to win tonight, they're going to have to try to put a clamp on that explosive passing attack that Friendship has. I think the best way for them to do that is to run the ball, control time of possession, keep that other offense on the sidelines. But yeah, defensively, they got to make a few stops.
James, Chadwick has been at the actual games every Friday night and has had to watch every Bobcat game. Me and you, we've been a little more lucky. We get to see games from everywhere, of course. And one of those who we've really been able to watch because of, Friendship ISD TV is the Friendship Tigers. We watched them against Midland Legacy, and we watched them against Odessa Permian. Tell the audience a little bit about something that maybe they may not know about this Friendship Tiger team coming into tonight.
They score just about pretty much every time they have the ball. I mean, they have their quarterback, just like Tyler Hill. He's the gear that makes the team go. He is incredibly explosive through the air. I mean, I think he throws a little bit more. He has like a 74% completion percentage, which is insane. He's got like 3,000 yards. He's got his cousin Landon Hutchison out there catching passes. Leighton Stone, Landon Beals out there. They're just Tate Beals. They're just going crazy. I mean, he can just throw and they can score. And if Central doesn't control the clock and they have any turnovers or anything, that's going to be really, really bad for them. They need control. They need to be mistake-free because Friendship can take advantage of that. They took advantage of it against Midland Legacy.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to note here, and I'll do this as we reveal our picks, the quarterback, the one behind the helm for the Friendship Tigers, in my opinion, is probably going to get district MVP. Hud Hutchinson has had a great season so far and has been putting it on everybody, including that Midland Legacy Rebel team, who is going to probably secure the district championship. He beat them right there in Friendship. So it's going to be a scary game, and because of that, I decided, not this week, Cats. This week is probably going to be one for the Tigers. Friendship, me and James, Ernesto, Isaiah, and Jake all chose Friendship. Of course, Ryan Chadwick, Joe, and Yantis took the Central Bobcats. James, I'm going to bounce it back to you. Why didn't you roll with the Bobcats this week?
It's their inability to stop pretty much. And, they get into these high-scoring shootouts with these teams, and if they can run the ball, but we've seen when they get behind, they end up getting into this shootout with the other team, and I just don't think they can limit the big plays that Friendship can throw at them.
Well, I think that this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I'm thinking, it's going to be 54 to 53 or some crazy number like that. It's going to be a one-point ball game. It's just going to be whoever has it at the end, it seems like to me, because both of these defenses are pretty atrocious, and these offenses are, like James said, pretty high-octane. Chadwick, you decided, as per usual, I think you've done it every single week since you've been on Cover 1, you picked the Cats. Why did you decide to roll with the Cats in this one? Besides the fact that, of course, that's your alma mater.
Like, I know you're alluding to like this might be like some homer pick, but like I feel more confident about the Cats' chances than I did against Permian or Legacy this year, right? Like I said, this is pretty much an identical team on paper. I just think that the Bobcats have better weapons, right? So if they, like I said, control the clock, if they win time of possession, they're going to have a pretty good chance of winning this game. But like, I'm not going to discount Tyler Hill's ability to throw the ball either, right? Central's got 4 very good receivers. They all can go deep, and Tyler Hill is really good at hitting that deep ball. So even if it turns into a track meet, I'm not counting the Bobcats out at all.
All right, there you go. This has been our picks for the San Angelo Central and Friendship game. Me, James, Ernesto, Jake, and Isaiah chose the Friendship Tigers. Ryan, Joe, and Yantis went for the Bobcats. So last chance to see those there. All right, moving on, guys, to our next game. But before we do, I want to let you guys know what's going on at All-American Chevrolet of San Angelo. For a limited time only, right now, November 1st through the 12th, you can get 0% APR financing for up to 36 months, or you can get 2.99% financing APR for 60 months and 3.99% APR financing on 72 months. You won't find a better rates on used cars anywhere. So remember, guys, these are for used cars. Go shop now. Give them a call at 325-203-5435 or go see them at 203 North Bryant Boulevard. That's All-American Chevrolet, the fun place to buy a car. All right, moving on to our next game. We're going to stay right here in San Angelo because it is going to be a good one. Last game of the season, last chance to make it happen, and that is for the Lakeview Chiefs. The Chiefs have had a great season to start, kind of has been on the downhill since about week 3 or 4. They're probably out of the playoffs, but if they can somehow beat Estacado, maybe it gives a little confidence boost, or I don't know, maybe something crazy happens and you sneak in. I don't know. James, what are you thinking about this game that's going to be going on at San Angelo Stadium tonight?
Hey man, stranger things have happened, right? I do think that they're fifth, and when they realigned, they were in a 14 district last year. Now they're in a 5 team, and they're in a really tough district with Brownwood, Andrews, Big Spring, and Estacado. They do have their two-headed monster at running back. That Ricky Ramirez came back against Brownwood, and Ian Cortez is back there. So I do like that. They can run the ball, and they actually moved the ball. Had a couple drives against that first seed, now ranked Brownwood team. They were able to actually move the ball pretty well against them on a couple of their drives. Estacado, I've been let down by the Chiefs too many times this year, man. That's everybody. In San Angelo, it just seems like the Chiefs have got all of our hopes up this year, and then at the end of the year, just weren't able to really put it together. Chadwick, when you look at this game on paper, Estacado versus Lakeview, what is that paper reading?
Estacado's entire team is full of athletes. They are really good at moving the ball. They're really fast. It's hard to keep them down. They've put it on a bunch of teams that they've played this year, and I don't think that should be any different tonight. But like y'all were saying earlier, the Chiefs' offense is their biggest strength. So lean into those.
Yep.
The Chiefs never their strength has never been in the passing game this year. So put those running backs on the edge. Set up plays up the middle. Just run the ball.
I will say this: I played at Levelland for my career, and every single year Estacado was in my district. And I will tell you one thing Estacado is known for, and that is for high explosive offense, but at the same time, very unfundamental and unfundamentally sound defense. You know, you can make them miss tackles, you can beat their coverages and stuff. It doesn't take a very big team, because this team is 5-4. This team is definitely a beatable team. We will see what happens, but I'm just gonna go ahead and reveal it. Even though I say that, man, doesn't look good for the Chiefs for our pick'ems. Everybody on the San Angelo Live office has picked the Estacado Matadors to take this one. Not a very good sign for Lakeview, but also not a very good sign for us as betting guys, because if everyone's picking them, it'd be a great let-up spot. Chadwick, let's go back to you. Why are you picking the Estacado Matadors over the Lakeview Chiefs at San Angelo Stadium?
I was speaking to Coach Guevara this week, and even though the Chiefs are getting several of their players back from injury this week, they haven't been playing for a while. Like the sense of like you're on a losing streak, and you want to get that win, but sometimes it's hard to muster up like and turn the tides, right? With that being said, Estacado is coming off a win against their other district opponents. I'm pretty sure it was Big Spring last week, right?
I check real quick for you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
But so like they have the momentum carrying into this week. Yeah, they did beat Big Spring last week. So, and they just got too many. They just have too many athletes. I was watching some film on them this week, and there's several occasions where they make two moves and they just hit a lane and they're gone, right? And that's one area that Lakeview has struggled in, is containing big plays. We saw that against Brownwood here at San Angelo Stadium. But, yeah, so I picked the Matadors tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I also rode with the Matadors. It looks like, if you see – I promise it's going to be kind of bad, but the Chiefs have struggled so bad at the end of this season. It's really like when you go to Big Springs and that's supposed to be the game that you were supposed to pop off and you don't get that one, it just kind of bodes for the history of the Lakeview Chiefs, especially as far as the last 5 or 6 or 10 years, maybe since Guevara's tenure. It's always, if you don't win that Big Spring game, you're not going to win a single district game, and I think that's kind of what's going to happen here. James, tell me some hope. Give me some hope, though, if you're a Lakeview fan out there to, is there a chance that we could pull this thing out?
Oh, absolutely. You got to run the ball. You got to limit, this is an explosive offense they're playing. Limit their time on the field. Run the ball, pound the ball. When you were winning games at the beginning of the season, that's what you were doing. You're running the ball. You had, Ramirez and Cortez back there running it. And even against Brownwood, Ramirez had a big run against Brownwood. I was at the game, so they do some good things. They just got to put them all together. And once they get them all together, it'll be good. Just run the ball, control the clock, you'll be fine.
All right, like we said, this game is going to be at San Angelo Stadium, so go ahead and check it out tonight. If you don't make it to the game, make sure to check out the COVER1 halftime and post-game show at 8 and 10 o'clock. Just want to remind you guys that this show is brought to you by Angelo Bolton Industrial Supply. If you're like me, you have a honey-do list the size of a mile. If you need, whether it's fix this shelf or fix this or fix that, well, if you need anything, go down there to Angelo Bolton Industrial Supply. Whether it's your screws or fasteners, nuts, bolts, whatever you need, they have that. But they also have power tools like tools from Milwaukee and DeWalt. So go see those guys today. It's Angelo Bolton Industrial Supply at 808 Warehouse Drive. Guys, moving on to our next game. This is one of the ones that people may think, why are they covering this game? Well, it's because this is going to show who may be the worst team in the Concho Valley. That's right, the Ballinger Bearcats, winless. Great Creek Eagles, also winless. Going to come down to this tonight in Ballinger. Who will be the ultimate loser of the Concho Valley? Guys, being in an 0-9 spot is not easy, but, as long as you can win, you can be 1-9, it could be better. Chadwick, I'm going to go to you. You kind of have a little bit of experience with this. Talk about it going, into a 0-9 versus 0-9 game.
Okay, so I myself, when I was playing football, I was on the Central Bobcats 08 team, and we were no good. Like, we ended up going 0-10 that year, and we were actually televised when we played the Lubbock High Westerners that year, because they were also, defeated. It was the battle of the defeated, right? And so that's
We're calling
never
this the toilet bowl.
Yeah, basically. And so that's never good for your confidence as a football player or as an athlete. And, that there's several extenuating circumstances that could have led you to where you are now, right? But as far as those boys playing football tonight, just like enjoy the game, like for those seniors, this is the last game that you're going to have. And then when it's done, and like you don't want to regret anything when it's 10 years later and you're sitting on a COVER1 show, so go have some fun tonight, all right?
Exactly. James, you also have told us a little bit about your Cristobal history and how Cristobal was going down in the dumps. So what can you say to these guys to maybe boost their spirits as well?
Pull all your trick plays out in this game. You're both 0-9. There's no chance of making the playoffs here, so just go have fun with it. It's hard when you're losing. It's hard to have that mindset of trying to stay positive, especially when you just keep getting beat down. Because I was 0-10 my senior year. Just like Chad, I was 0-10.
Look at these guys! I'm telling you,
we know what it's like to lose up here.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about the game.
That's why we can say it. I'm in.
But look, both Grape Creek and Ballinger had trouble putting the ball in the end zone this year. I don't think either of them have over 100 points scored. I think they both have given up over 300. Just rough years, rough seasons for them, and you're going to run into that. It's like it fluctuates. You'll have a year where you're pretty good, and then years where you're bad, and years where you're good, and years where you're bad.
Yeah.
So just go out there, have fun, pull trick plays out, and let's see who wins this one. Who wants it more at this point?
Absolutely. You guys remember, last year the Grape Creek Eagles made the playoffs and won a playoff game. 2 years ago, the Ballinger Bearcats went on a roll. This year, things maybe not be the same. For the picks, though, things were a little bit lopsided. I'm just going to say that everybody in the world decided to rock with Ballinger, except for your boy going for the Creek. James, why are you going to go against the Creek like that?
I went to that game last year when y'all were just dog walking Grape Creek, and y'all sent me to that game last year, and they played a great game against who was it? Ingram Moore, I believe, and yeah, Ballinger has a pretty good team. I've read some of their stats. They don't have their stats. You have to look for their stats. So just when I went looking, I saw there's some good things they've done. Head coach has been there a couple years now, and it's just a rough season for everybody. That's all it is, just a rough season for everybody involved. So,
and Chadwick, what about you? Was this a coin flip, or did you have a little bit of sense of knowledge before you made this pick?
This was closer to a coin flip than my usual picks, because you know me, I'm usually more of the 5A, 6A guy, right? So I will say I have followed some of especially what we cover on COVER1, the stats on both offenses that Grape Creek and Ballinger have put forth this year. And personally, I just think that Ballinger's a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball, so I think they're going to win.
All right, well, only time will tell.
Yeah,
These are our
Ballinger,
picks.
my bad.
Go for it, James.
Ballinger has scored 93 points this year. Grape Creek has scored 51 points. Ballinger has given up 351 points, and Grape Creek has given up 358 points. So they're pretty even, pretty identical, you know.
Both have not won a game.
And Grape Creek did graduate a lot last year too.
Right.
They lost a lot of experience out there. So.
Right. I mean, you can't hang your heads though either way because
go have fun.
You can't, because even if you say you lose this game, you're 0-10. Guess what? They're 1-9, and that season sucks too. So at the end of the day, just leave it all on the line out there and give it all. Just like Chadwick said, who knows? Maybe in 10 years you'll be on the COVER1 show telling people how to win football games. All right, moving on. But before we do, I got to tell you guys about Davis Woodfin. He's the financial advisor over there at Edward Jones, and he's making sense of investing. That's right. He's at 4102 South Jackson Street, so go see him. Or you give him a call, 325-249-0082. That's Davis Woodfin, the investor at Edward Jones. He's making sense of investing. He's a member of the SIPC. Go see him at 4102 South Jackson or give him a call, 325-249-0082. 0082. All right, now we're going to be moving into some district games that are going to have a lot on the line. These next two games are from the same district, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with one that is more about seeding than it is about the district championship, and that is going to be between the Sterling City Eagles and the El Dorado Eagles. This is going down in El Dorado tonight. The El Dorado Eagles are 4-5. Sterling City Eagles are 5-4. So it's going to be about who can El Dorado finish 500? Will Sterling City finish over 500 during their first year of the 11-man season after bouncing back? We'll find out. James, when you look at this matchup, what are you thinking?
Well, I talked to both Chad Tuttle and Trey Cisco this week, and they both have a lot of respect for each other. And obviously, this is Cisco's been at Sterling City for like 18 years, not as a head coach, but he's been there for 18 years in the same place. When you've been there for almost 2 decades, people like you. When you go from 11-man to 6-man to 11-man, you're obviously a very good coach where you can learn on the fly like that. And they have a lot of speed there in Sterling City, and Coach Tuttle knows that. Mm-hmm. And just like Coach Tuttle knows they have speed, Coach Cisco knows that they're big up. That El Dorado's big up front. They got big old Sam Griffin out there, who is just a brick wall. He's a beast. Tony Kamiak out there, and they've had trouble with size this year. But everybody, I think, is healthy. They had some changes there in El Dorado where Corrubius got moved out the slot, and they put Brajas in at quarterback.
Right.
Try to utilize Corrubius' speed a little bit more.
Right.
And this is going to be a really good one. The loser of this game is going to end up, I think, 4th, and they're going to play Albany next week, which won't be very much fun because Albany is a powerhouse this year.
And I think they're like ranked 4 or 5 in the state right now.
Yeah,
up there.
I think they were 4th at one point, just like Wink. In this district. And I think the winner of this game would be 3rd, and they ended up playing probably Miles, and that's a familiar opponent for both of these schools last year. El Dorado played Miles. They were in the same district, and this year Sterling City was up on Miles at the half, and then Miles came back to win it 40-21. So, and even Trey Cisco said that'd be obviously we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but he said that'd be a pretty good measuring stick for us, kind of see where how much better we've gotten over the year at this 11-man stuff. So.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Chadwick, when you're thinking about picking this one, it's like, do I go with El Dorado? Do I go with Sterling City? I'm going to bring this in, and then I'm going to let you pitch to your pick. But what was going through your mind when you're assessing these two teams?
I know that El Dorado started a little slow this season while they were trying to figure everything out, but it seems like they have. And meanwhile, Sterling City has kind of been pretty constant throughout the year. They've played almost every opponent that they've played pretty tough, and they've gotten a couple more tough wins than El Dorado has. And so when I was sitting down to pick them, this one was as close to a coin flip as I can get. I'm like, these teams look the same to me on paper. They have similar records. The Sterling City is a little bit newer to the 11-man stuff, of course, but I mean, I like the way they've been playing football, and they were in that state game a couple years back, and like that culture doesn't die, so they know how to win, they know what it means to be in big games, so I rock with Sterling City.
All right, go ahead and reveal the rest of those picks for me, Chad.
Oh, okay. Well, looks like Jake, Joe, myself, James, and Ernesto all went with Sterling City, and then Isaiah, Yantis, and of course the Homer Trammell went with El Dorado.
Okay, I may be a homer on this game, but you know what? That's okay, because I think El Dorado right now is a very strong football team. They're kind of picking things up after they've had it's kind of like a shift. Like, this was this generation of El Dorado kids. This is going to be the next generation of El Dorado kids when you're talking about how young they are. And I think they have the confidence right now that they've built up through this season. Yeah, they've dropped a few games, but they've won a bunch of big games. So I don't know. I just think something in my gut is telling me that the El Dorado Eagles are going to win it. James, you had to make a pick. I know it was hard for you. You picked Sterling City, but talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been out to El Dorado and talked to Chad Tuttle, and I've been out to Sterling City and talked to Trey Cisco. A lot of respect for both of them. I know over the years I've gone Cristobal because that was my alma mater when they would play, and their defensive coordinator there kind of poked fun at me for how I never pick El Dorado, and that was that's all just good and fun. This is going to be a good one. I think I picked Sterling City just on a whim. I think just to be different from Matt, so we have a little bit to talk about here.
So
Maybe
the defensive coordinator's right. You still won't pick them.
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, he's right.
There you go.
This give me something to talk about next week. No, I have a lot of respect for both these coaching staffs, and I called both of them. They picked up. I think I have both their phone numbers just because they said call me anytime you need something. I get stats from El Dorado. They're great down there. That Chad Tuttle kept that defensive staff together because they wanted to be there.
Yep.
And it's hard, that family mentality. It's gonna be a really good game, and I really think this is gonna be.
If I hear something right, I feel like you're kind of talking yourself out of that pick and back into El Dorado. So if you want to come join the team, you can.
No, I'm just saying. I think this is gonna be just a really good game. It's hard to pick between. These two schools, they're both really good programs, and
they're both
run very
pretty
confidently.
Even.
It's
they're running
it's
pretty even.
this is like Chadwick said. This is kind of a coin toss. This is they're Chad Tuttle's new there. He did keep the staff, but the kids had to adjust. They graduated a lot last year. Sterling City just moved up, even though they had all that experience from those state games. This couple of years ago, those kids kind of moved on. These younger kids kind of learned this 11-man, and they're pretty even. They both had to be totally excited with the results this year of even making the playoffs. Sterling City wasn't even picked to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So I think that both these schools should just be proud of where they're at and just go out and play a really solid game and go see if you can get a win. Maybe plug in some trick plays this week and try to
Make it happen.
Try to get out early, and Trey Cisco thinks both these thinks they're going to try to do the same thing. They both try to use that size up front and run the ball. So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a really, really good one in El Dorado.
All right, this has been our picks for the El Dorado Sterling City game. Of course, Jake, Joe, Ryan, James, and Ernesto went with Sterling City. Me, Isaiah, and Yantis, we went with El Dorado. Guys, I want to let you guys, can't forget the proud sponsor of the COVER1 pregame show and brings you all these picks. That's Team Investments. Give them a call at 325-227-6729 or see them online at teaminvestments.com. They are helping you visualize your financial dreams. So go ahead and go see those guys today. Give them a call, 325-227-6729 or teaminvestments.com. All right, moving on to our last game, and this one is going to be exciting. It is a battle for what possibly could be a district championship. We will see. That's the Sonora Broncos taking on the Forsan Buffaloes. I think yes, I know for a fact that the records on there are wrong. The Sonora Broncos are 7-2, and the Forsan Buffs are 8-1. It is going to be a battle. Whoever wins this, Forsan wins outright district championship. If
Sonora's got to win by 11.
If Sonora, I blanked.
No, you're right.
If Sonora wins, they win by 11. They get the district championship in that first place. It's gonna be a dogfight. We'll get it right into it. Chadwick, I'm gonna go to you first. This is a district championship. What does it mean when you're on the football field and everything is all on the line? What do you do with your head? How do you get in the right spot? And how do you go out there and perform to the highest level? Because this is for a district championship, so you're gonna have to.
Well, you just have to execute, right? Like, you practice all week. You've been playing well all season. You've taken care of the opponents that you need to take care of. So going into this game, it's just one of those things where you can't make the moment too big, right? Take a deep breath. Fall back on your training. You practice it every week. Just don't let the situation dominate how you approach the game. So keep calm.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 losses between the two teams all season long, and they have not played cupcake schedules. James, talk about their kind of season as a whole and what has happened between these two guys.
Sonora, Blake Weston there's doing a really good job. They're 7-2. They lost to Cahoma. I think they had he called me at 8 o'clock the next morning and talked to me about that game, and they had 4 turnovers, and they still only lost by 4 points to Cahoma. And then they lost to Reagan County. They kind of had the same thing. They had a few turnovers, and
that was kind of a oops, whoa.
Yeah, that kind of caught us by surprise there. And they righted the ship. They beat Anthony. They beat Cristobal last week, and they're peaking at the right time here. Jaime Butron, their quarterback, and Hunter O'Bannon have 2,000 yards on the ground or something like that. There's something crazy like that. Edgar DeLuna, their big-time tackling guy. He's got like 130 tackles. He on 13 receptions, he's got 6 touchdowns. I mean, they're loaded all over the place. And so Forsan is really big up front. Got a great running back in Kevin Kilgora. Him and DeLuna are going to get acquainted early and often in this game. So,
do we got that loss from Forsan? Who did Forsan lose to?
Forsan lost somebody earlier in the season. Kermit. They lost to the Kermit Hornets.
There you go. James's favorite school.
My favorite. It was a 13-14 game. It wasn't a bad game either, you know. And even when they played Cristobal, I was talking to Coach Weston earlier in the week, and then they were playing Cristobal. Cristobal had a big touchdown called back, and Forsan, with like 3 minutes left, had a 60-yard touchdown pass that put them up 14-6. It's just one of those kind of games where it was scoreless to the fourth quarter. You know, they both love running the ball. Same here, both these teams. You know, Sonora likes to run the ball too. I think they have a little more weapons than just the running back. I mean, I'm not saying Forsan doesn't have anybody else, but you try to throw the ball on this team. You got Damian Reyes and Butron back there who have like 4 interceptions apiece. They're ball hawks. I think Reyes has like 10 or 12 passes defended. It's going to be tough to throw the balls on these guys. Sonora's coming in hot. They win by 11, and Reagan County loses. They're first in district, and they'll get Stanford or Olney or someone next week.
All right, you want to launch these picks?
Let's do it.
There you go.
All right, Jake, Joe, Trammell, me, and Ernesto all went Sonora, and Isaiah, Ryan, and Yandis went Forsan.
All right, so that's a pretty split lineup.
Pretty
there.
even split right there. It's hard to choose either one of these. They're both good programs. I got to roll with Sonora. Got my Sonora hat.
Oh, there we go.
They got the red tumbler.
It's
A lot of
me a homer.
A lot of respect. Hey, when Coach Weston walks me back to the office, he gives me 4 decals and a hat. I haven't gotten a hat from any other school. So
James can be bought.
I absolutely can be bought. You know, Jay, I've loved going around talking to these guys. You know, Weston went through a little bit earlier in the season. His brother's wife passed away, so he was back and forth to San Antonio, and you know, I pray everything's going okay there, and I hope he can focus on the game tonight. And this should be a really, really good one. I'd love to see Sonora go and take it, but Forsan, you know, Coach Phillips does a really good job there. He coached them very well.
So Chadwick, you went with the opposite of us two. So kind of talk to me about the Forsan. Was it just that one loss, Hank, that just kind of made it a little bit harder for you, or what made you go with the Buffs?
Well, the one loss, obviously helps Forsan's case, right? They've shown up to every game this year. They've taken care of business. They know how to win. But I kind of go back to that Cristobal game, man. Just the back and forth they showed, 0-0 going into the fourth quarter, and then they still found a way to win. And I'm not taking anything away from their opponent, of course, but yeah, I decided to go with Forsan tonight.
All right, we will see what happens. These are our picks for the Forsan versus Sonora game. We will have highlights and all kinds of coverage from that one, just so you know that was brought to you by Team Investments. Before we go, we'll let you guys know about Double Dave's. They got a pizza of the month for November, and it's, of course, the Thanksgiving pizza. That's right, hand-tossed crust with stuffing, brown gravy, diced turkey, mozzarella, onion, and cranberry sauce. You cannot get any better than this, I'm telling you. Go see them there in the Little South. They're in the Southwest Plaza over there off Knickerbocker Road at Sunset, or you can order them online at doubledaves.com. However you like your pizza ordered, go ahead and order it that way, doubledavespizza.com. All right, guys, we're just about done, but before we go, we've been doing this for 10 weeks now. We have a full list of who's what and who to trust, and I promise you it is not me and Chadwick, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. Cover 1, pick standings through Week 10, brought to you by the Autoplex and Team Investments. James, you're in first place, 35-15. Yantis, 31-19. Jake and Isaiah jump up past Joe Hyde. Jake's at 31-19. Isaiah is at 30-20. Joe, 29-21. Ernesto, 27-23. And me and Ryan are tied for dead last at 26-24. I don't even say, Ryan, what do you have to say for yourself? Because it'd be kind of hypocritical. But Ryan, Kind of talk to me about these picks. What are we doing wrong, bro? What are we doing wrong?
That's what makes the game of football so beautiful, you know. Like it literally is the adage, any given Sunday, right? So like it doesn't matter who shows up. You could pick the favorite in every game, but of course upsets happen. You can try to guess the upset when it comes, and then it doesn't hit.
That seems like all me. When I pick the underdog, the winner wins, and then when I pick the winner, the underdog loses.
Right, and so I even got to the point where I'd pick whatever the opposite of what James was picking, just so I could rub in his face when I got back up to him. But no, this is all fun, and of course you can't predict the outcome of football games. But yeah, that probably explains why we're in last place.
There you go, James. Here's your one moment of shine going into Week 10. What do you got to say about your pick standings there?
Yeah, trying to pick against me, that worked out real well for you. Look, I kind of have a leg up on these guys. I go to these schools. Ever since district started for everybody, I've started trying to get out to all the schools in the area, and I talk to these guys and I call them. And I even go out to the big country. I've been to Jim Ned and Brownwood, and I kind of have a leg up on some of these guys. So it's kind of hard to. There's kind of an asterisk next to mine, but some of those losses are. I'm sure we got some homer losses in there, so some of those wins are probably homer wins.
I thought I was going to do well when Cristobal lost El Dorado Week 1, and then I just went like this rest of the time.
All I'm saying is, if Central went 10-0, then that'd be an extra
10 points. There you go.
And you can't look at it like, oh well, we beat. I just use we beat Reagan County and they lost to Reagan County, so we should beat them. It's fun to sit there and say that. If you did that with the NFL, the Cowboys beat the Rams last.
The Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Everybody wins the Super Bowl when you sit there and say we could have won the Super Bowl last year because we beat this team and they beat them, and you can't do that. But it's all just fun, and I have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it just kind of shows the audience who you can trust, and that is also always you cannot trust me or Ryan Chadwick unless we are telling you about All-American Chevrolet's great deal on used cars for a limited time only. You can get 0% APR financing on used cars for up to 36 months. Shop now because if you want to extend that 60 months, 2.9% APR financing. You want to extend that to 72 months, 3.9% APR financing. So go down there, 203 North Bryant Boulevard, or give them a call, 325-203-5435. It's that time of the year where everyone's getting graduation cars, or maybe someone just turned 16 and they need one as well. So go see All-American Chevrolet or give them a call, 325-203-5435. All right, guys, last chance. Is there any other games that we just want to maybe touch to say, hey, this game's going on and we'll have the score on?
Hawley's playing Cisco. That's going to be a really important game. That's I tried to go to the Stanford Hawley game. I thought that'd be better than it was. It was like 32-0 Hawley. Mitch Abels does a really good job coaching there, and they are just loaded. They were in state last year, and they have this game. This game is marked, and certainly Cisco has this game marked, because if Will Scott hadn't gone out on the edge and made a tackle last year, Cisco could have easily played Shiner at AT&T Stadium. Jim Ned outright, I think they're first in their district. They won against Iowa Park last night. Congratulations, Matt Fanning. Went there and talked to him. He's a really good guy, and I think that's it. So
Chadwick,
far.
you got any 6A, 5A games that are going on around the area? I know Abilene Cooper and Abilene Wiley played tonight, but do you know any other ones?
Yeah, well, I was just going to make a point about the little Southwest Conference. If Midland High beats Permian and Odessa High beats Legacy, and then Central beats Friendship, there'll be a 4-way tie for first place.
keep dreaming. All right, this has been the Cover One pregame show. Guys, make sure you come back at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, so you get the halftime postgame show. Of course, we'll have highlights, scores, and coaches' interviews, and also the great analysis by all the Cover One crew. Until then, we will see you guys at 8 and 10 o'clock. This has been the Cover One pregame show, brought to you by Team and Investments.